Victory 5 take out the Karma, and they do. It's always been seen as the answer to Morgana. You're going to be able to pressure that laning phase quite well. I do want to highlight Morgana got a bit of a buff this patch. Her Q cooldown got decreased by 1 second, which is, you know, might sound small, but it's pretty legit overall, especially when you are playing these more aggressive laning phases like Jhin Morgana.
I mean, the Dark Binding is the ability that really defines Morgana alongside that Black Shield, so having a second off of that cooldown is certainly going to be fantastic. But we do see the Karma for ppgod. And when we look across these compositions, this is feeling a little bit better than the last one for V5 in that they have a lot of ability to win their lane.
Exactly. Like, so both teams, once again, going all for snowballing. This game is going to be decided in the first 20 minutes. The thing is, we have a great siege comp coming out from Victory 5. They're going to do quite well in front of neutral objectives, in front of turrets. The thing I'm scared about for Victory 5 is this Jarvan pick coming out from SofM, because I feel like something like a cheeky level 2 gank mid or bot can just totally collapse the bottom half of the map for Victory 5.
Yeah, and I think Angel is one of the players that's been relatively quiet across the course of this series. Obviously, his Zoe looked fantastic. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but
like,
we have seen the highs of Angel be exceptional levels of play, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is his moment to step up.
I agree. Last split, in my mind, Angel was probably the most consistent member on Suning. This one, it's been the opposite. He's been the least consistent, but with the highest highs on the team. So I do hope we get to see it again on the Syndra, where, again, we saw him just blowing up Mole in the last game he had it.
And the jungle matchup is going to be so crucial. SofM against Weiwei. It's game number 4 between Suning and V5.
Weiwei, 加油！苏宁，加油！
It's time for game number 4 here. And the Church of ppgod, they got to start praying right now because Victory 5 are against the ropes. The Lions are roaring, and the Lannisters, they always pay their debts.
Yeah. Sure.
Lyric has not watched Game of Thrones, so the references are going to be lost on him, unfortunately. But we'll have to see what V5 have up their sleeves here, because already ppgod, realizing that there could be some vision here, goes for the sweeper. Mole gets the gold from that one. No level 1 shenanigans from either side. I'm really curious about this Morgana pick for SwordArt, though, because I think that's the one that's most out of the meta here in the LPL.
I do want to stop for a second and say I wouldn't be surprised if we do see level 1 shenanigans coming out from V5, because they do have Olaf, who's one of the strongest level 1 champions, along with the Karma. Obviously, it's a bit dicey up against the Morgana, but V5 are going to go for it.
They're going to go for it, and I love it. Let's see some early action here. They're moving in. They have been spotted. And look at this stack out of Suning. Everybody is here. The Dark Binding goes wide, though. Volley onto everyone. That's a huge amount of damage on towards Suning. But with a 5-strong roster here, they should easily have this one. And Bin takes the long old walk back up to top lane.
We need to remember that this was a trade-off. Sure, V5 weren't able to get the buff, so Weiwei's going to be a bit behind SofM, but Biubiu is getting an advantage in the top side. Bin has to make his way up there from across the map.
And the question is, what can Biubiu do with this advantage? Because this matchup in the top lane, Bin versus Biubiu, old teammates going head-to-head, it feels to me like Bin has been kind of the better player in this matchup, not necessarily just on straight-up scorelines, but Weiwei has given Biubiu so much focus across this series, whereas SofM has kind of ignored the top lane.
I just like how he did that. Didn't blasting plant over, just hit the blasting plant, then had to flag and drag over. But I agree. I feel like Bin has largely been the more impactful player of the series, though I feel like Biubiu has been one of the better players on V5 side. He's consistently done his job. And we even saw him now stacking that wave to try and punish Bin when he's coming for the farm. So I feel like he's done a pretty solid job, and especially this game is going to have to have a strong performance on this Jayce if Victory 5 want to come out ahead. But I'm definitely looking more towards the spot lane because, again, when you have two mage supports, it is very impactful to be able to push in your wave, get that turret plating. You're both very fragile, both very easy to kill if a Jarvan or an Olaf look for an early gank.
Speaking of Olaf, Weiwei moving towards the mid lane here. Angel will be slowed, and the trouble bubble is there, forces the cleanse out very early on in this lane.
That's so nice job by Weiwei showing in mid, so he's going to guarantee the spot scuttle. But actually, pings are coming out, and SofM wants to contest.
Certainly does. Huanfeng moving over, as is SwordArt, but the slow going to be there. Nice find that the heal used very early on from Huanfeng. He might just have to flash away from this play. The SwordArt sticking around maybe too long, but they want the AD carry. The flashes come on through, and V5 find first blood. Now on towards ppgod. Suning have answered, but they're not interested in the Karma. They want Weiwei, and they want Y4. Bin grabs himself a red buff and a kill as Y4 knocked up and will be taken down. Angel to grab that one, and a dark binding is beautiful from SwordArt. Biubiu flashes out, trying to get damage down onto SofM, but it's Suning that win the trade.
And you can see that V5 feel the pressure. They all in so heavily for Huanfeng, and they send so many members going down with them. Great read coming out from Suning, and you highlighted nice dark binding from SwordArt to end it all.
And we've been saying this every single game of this series. Great read from Suning. Those are the keywords because Suning are reading V5 like a book.
I mean, it definitely feels like potentially more than half of the members on V5 used to be on Suning.
It could be the case. But you would say that that should go both ways, right?
True.
It feels like V5 should know Suning just as well. But then we're seeing a different version of Suning than what we're used to.
That's true, and at the same time, we've seen a bit of a different side of V5.
Oh my goodness, SofM, this is aggressive. But he gets it. Hey, V5 back away from the play. I feel like they could have just turned on him there, but now they're going to have to get away with the Inspire.
And this is exactly the different side of Suning that we're talking about, that these are the plays that V5 are known for. 4/5-man stacking one side of the map to ensure these advantages. V5, though, Biubiu wrapping around.
It's going to be a trouble bubble onto Bin. Not the ideal target, though, and that's the CC chain onto Biubiu. He can't do anything in the fights. Now Weiwei trying to chop down SwordArt, but he still had flash. Knockups across the team. Everything is going the way of Suning. The Lions roaring their way through the early game as Mole flashes away from the play.
I mean, I don't actually think he's safe. SofM coming around, Mole hitting a clutch sleepy trouble bubble.
That was nice from SofM to keep moving while he's asleep there. And Mole will get away with his life.
I mean, this game is now completely exploded for the side of V5, and you know, me and you were talking about it at the end of last game, kind of some of the decisions we were seeing late, maybe signaling some a bit of troubles for V5 in their maybe camaraderie and the state of their shot calling and decision making.
Yeah, this is feeling rough from the side of V5, and you mentioned the momentum that a player like SwordArt brings to the side of Suning. This is a guy that is very vocal. He's a very loud player that will make these decisive plays, and you can just see it is exuding from the gameplay we're getting out of Suning.
Yeah, exactly. You can see they feel the momentum, but V5, they don't slow down. They still are going to constantly look for these aggressive plays, but Angel's respecting.
Just respecting, doesn't have plans, doesn't have flash, but the scout of the week should keep him safe here. Mole won't have the damage to follow up on the trouble bubble, and SofM here to save the play.
So, and this is why we have seen that these games just snowball so far out of control, right? Because V5 aren't going to stop looking for these aggressive options, and when you do have two very early game focused comps that have, I'd say, similar dimensions, right? We have these CC80 carries that can look for engages. We have these Enchanter supports. We have these control mage mid laners with a lot of early action-packed jungle. It's like we're going to see a lot of early skirmishes for Dragon. Both these comps do want to just run at each other. Sure, Victory 5s, I'd say, would rather play from the range. You'd rather get Division sit down first and abuse that poke, but they still want those fights.
And they're just going to force this one down towards the bottom side. Mole's moved over the slow onto Huanfeng. He doesn't have flash, he doesn't have heal, but the black shield, the dodge on the trouble bubble. Huanfeng wanders away from the play just beautifully.
First playoffs appearance from Huanfeng, and he is having a great series so far. Suning just bringing everything together as a team, and now we're going to look for this dragon. They do have bot side pressure, but we need to keep in mind that SofM is on the bottom half of the map.
Weiwei going to grab himself the Scuttle Crab. Could look to start off the dragon, but he realizes this is not the play for right now, at very least. SofM going for the Cinderhawk build, as you'd expect from Jarvan and competitive.
Also, SofM is almost level 6 to where Weiwei is only level 4 right now, and Weiwei's still not farming. Weiwei's actually still waiting in the river. So, 2-level lead.
This is not the way that Olaf versus Jarvan is meant to go farm-wise. Olaf should be the one that is able to farm a lot quicker, but SofM just having the better read on how this game is going.
And I don't want to sugarcoat it with hindsight from this series, but all split long, Weiwei has been the better jungler.
Yeah.
But SofM definitely putting up an amazing performance with the rest of Suning this series.
And it's worth, like, this isn't just in terms of SofM versus Weiwei either.
Yeah.
Weiwei has been an exceptional jungler this entire split long. He's been one of the best in the entire league. And let's bear in mind quite how stacked the jungle role is in the LPL. But here in this series, SofM has been exceptional. And Weiwei still has been one of the highlight players for the side of V5, but SofM, especially in this game here, has his number.
It just feels like in a lot of these skirmishes, V5 are over-forcing, or like last game when they didn't have the comp to do so, they're always going to take these fights, and Suni are just outperforming them on mechanical skill. Also just on better power spikes as well, but...
Hey, huanfeng going to be given this Rift Herald as well. They want to get gold onto this Jhin, and I can understand why. He's already got himself a crit cape. He already has 2 kills for himself as well. And with all of these plates that he'll be able to find off the back of this Rift Herald, huanfeng is going to be rapidly skyrocketing towards the late game AD carry that we know he is.
Yep, and we even see the teams going to opposite sides of the map. I wonder if Victory 5 will just consciously choose to give up this Dragon, because this has been a set play from Victory 5 before that, even in their FPX series, where maybe they'll slightly fall behind or just be at a unfavorable time in terms of items and power spikes, and they'll consciously give up Drake, trade sides of the map to accelerate the game and get key items onto either Y4 or Mole.
So huanfeng going to be able to shove this wave in, going to be able to drop this Rift Herald for a couple of plates if he wants to. Might just try and get a couple of plates first, as he does have a longer while on the Rift Herald before he needs to drop that one. So maybe we'll try and just grab the easier plates himself before going for the Herald plate itself.
Yep, I don't see any reason to rush this play.
These bindings are heat-seeking from SwordArt. I don't think I've seen him miss one yet.
So, Morgana is SwordArt's 4th most played champion in his career. He does have a 70% win rate on it. I would say if there is a mage that is synonymous with SwordArt, it is Morgana. Every other champion is the Thresh and Alistar, something along those lines.
SofM's moving to the bottom side of the map here.
Oh.
Y4. He's going to spot it with the Hawk Shot, but he didn't see the jungler. SofM now spotted by Weiwei and ppgod. Y4 has to be a little bit careful, but he'll be fine. He's not going to fall to this dive.
Yep, and we see on the opposite side of the map, Biubiu taking that Scuttlecraft for himself, so still trying to accrue some advantages, while Suning should be able to look for this Dragon. They have pressure mid, they have pressure bot.
Weiwei moving to the mid lane just to try and contest the wave somewhat. Another binding in the bottom lane lands onto ppgod this time, and you know, Karma's meant to be the answer to this Morgana, but the pressure that SwordArt is putting out with this pick is unwarranted in the bottom lane. Mole now here to try and defend the play. Has a redemption. That Trouble Bubble is nice, but the Black Shield's going to ruin it. And now SofM and Angel off on the side. Bin has TP if he needs it. It's going to start to be channeled as Angel dodges away from the arrow. Just everything seems to be going wrong here for V5.
And ultimately, the roam from Mole was good, because I feel like Suning definitely would have taken the turret had Mole not been there, but the play from Suning is just so on point. They're hovering back and forth between lanes, getting chip damage done on both turrets, forcing members of V5 to lose farm like Mole.
And just look at the top lane as well. That advantage we talked about early on from that level 1 play. Biubiu doesn't have that CS lead anymore. It's just about dead even on the top side of the map, and it means that Bin, even while he's trying to roam to make these plays elsewhere, is going to be more than happy. He's against the lane bully. He's better in the team.
Yeah, and it also comes down to once both top laners hit level 6, when Jayce does push out aggressively, he has to be worried, because obviously Jayce doesn't really have an ultimate to where Renekton doesn't get that big power spike from the Dominus, so this definitely is a matchup that it could swing really hard in one way if you get jungle attention, but obviously neither top laner really got help from their jungler.
They can't really afford to go for jungle attention at this point, because there's so much pressure on the bottom side of the map. Mole is struggling against Angel here, jumps forward, uses the Ignite from the Spell Thieves just to get some harass down, but once again, Angel just shoving this wave in constantly, and it means that Weiwei loses control of this bottom half of the jungle.
Yeah, and they're just going to trade sides of the map right now. And this is what we talked about actually like 3 or 4 minutes ago. This is what I expected V5 to do at that point, but instead of, I guess, feeling like they needed to answer the Herald play so Suning don't get too much, but now are going to start trying to get some gold onto Y4 and consciously give up these Drakes.
Oh, and now they're looking for Mole jumping over as Mole is caught inside the Cataclysm. The portal's not going to do all or too much. The stopwatch keeps him safe, but Angel grabs the kill in the end. And this is starting to look a little bit heartbreaking for V5 fans at home.
You know, I can confirm V5 fans everywhere are feeling a bit heartbroken, though. You know, just talking about people I know.
It's okay, Lyric. It's okay. I've got you, buddy. I will say, though, Suning they are over the moon with this one because, my goodness, what a performance. And this is the squad that we have been wanting to see all year long. When we talked about this new version of Suning, with the rookies coming in alongside veteran talent like SofM and SwordArt to lead them, it feels like that evolution has finally happened.
Yeah, and it's even more impressive to me that we came in doubting them because, again, they were not a team that I think looked very, very decisive in their wins. Heck, even in their series where they beat V5, Game 2, V5 had a 5K gold lead and just threw that series. So it's even more impressive to me that Suning come in not as the favorites, that Suning come in looking shaky and show us, hey, if you give them the time, they can devise these game plans to come on ahead. SofM, still a mechanical monster. Bin, lane's great. huanfeng, absolute insane late game team fighter. And I don't even need to say anything about Angel and SwordArt because they've looked so phenomenal.
It's honestly so impressive, the evolution that we're seeing out of the squad, especially as we head into playoffs.
But Mole, not had a good series.
Hang on a second here. SwordArt, I'm trying to compliment you here, buddy. This is not the play to be making. His flash is available. I don't think he really wants to use it, though. He's going to go down here.
Well, let's just say it,
Cast the
Munchables.
curse, baby.
That made no sense. That wasn't good.
He drops the ward. He's like, this is fine.
This
I'm
is
going to
cool.
recall.
That was interesting.
Hey, great reactions of the Black Shield, to be fair to him. Like, that was an instant Black Shield as soon as he saw the arrow. Yeah, I mean, didn't do anything, but it looked nice.
You know the best part is, I bet if we had SwordArt's player camp, I bet he would be laughing in that situation. I bet he found that hilarious.
There are very few situations where SwordArt isn't laughing, to be fair, though, in my experience of his player camp.
Right? We will come out of losses for Suning, and you'll see him like patting huanfeng in the back, like, ha ha ha, man, let's go again. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll show up in playoffs in the quarterfinals. It'll all be okay. Y4 forced to flash here. Scatter the Weak available for Angel, but not going to pull the trigger just yet, wanting to make sure he's got the perfect opportunity. Because SofM, in the meantime, was grabbing this Herald, and now they can move towards this mid lane. Stun goes down. The damage coming out of Angel is already terrifying.
Yep, and the setup's already here. We saw Bin push out the bot lane, roamed over first. Of course, Suning's bot lane's going to be able to push Mole on the top side. So they have absolute, complete control. Their rotations are looking beautiful, and they're going to be able to drop this Herald mid and definitely guarantee that one.
Just look at that gold graph. huanfeng is more than 1,000 gold ahead of anyone in the game, and their next three players are all his teammates. Suning are so far ahead, and they are not stopping anytime soon. Herald down in the mid lane. Angel won't quite be able to finish the tower off just yet. As Weiwei tries to threaten him, but Angel ain't scared of nothing.
No, and again, look at both of these team comps. Both very burst-oriented, both very early game focused. It's going to hard break one way or the other. And right now, Suning with a 5K gold lead are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they're feeling fantastic. Bin, good respect here to back away from the minion wave as soon as Weiwei and Biubiu go out of vision, because the rest of his squad is recalling. We've got a bit of a reset coming out across the board here for Suning.
And the thing is, like, sure, the only plays really available to them is to just commit to playing around Biubiu, send Weiwei, maybe bring ppgod or try and get the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Y4 as well. But when you're committing two-man down to the start of the map, Suning are just going to be pushing their advantage so much more on the opposite side.
So let's kind of reset for a second here, Lyric, and address what the next step is. For Suning to net themselves a win here, to net themselves a bye into the semi-final of the LPL Summer 2020 playoffs. What's the next step on the path? Apparently, it's Y4. He doesn't have his flash available. The curtain call finds the third shot. The stun comes out. Unleash power. See you later. Freljord no more. And now, SofM looking to extend the plays. Moving over. He wants some wolves for himself.
And I mean, that was it, right? They're setting up these picks.
Biubiu, this is not the place to be. Forced to flash, the flag and drag to follow. The rest of the squad not quite on the same page, though. Biubiu gets away.
It was so close. huanfeng predicting he'd...
Oh, my goodness. They're just finding more and more and more off of every single play. ppgod now trying to re-engage, but the tether not going to connect. Soon and get away with it once again.
And I will reiterate something we've said many times. V5 have the fastest loss time in the LPL. Despite the fact that this is a top 5, top 6 team, when they lose hard. They do not know how to minimize these sort of deficits, and they also don't draft to minimize those deficits typically.
See, huanfeng being the OP player after his last game. I can understand why. After the performance in this game as well, his curtain calls have been exceptional. He's been sniping with those ultimates, but also his follow-up routes to every single little bit of damage that the rest of his team does. He is playing this utility AD carry just to perfection.
Yep, and now for Suning, I would actually love to see them get the set up bot side and start, like, look for that Drake, but we actually see SofM posturing towards top.
That was a close one there. Just look at the gold difference right there on the left of your screen. Specifically between huanfeng and Weiwei. He's nearly 3,000 gold ahead of his counterpart. He's basically a full tier 2 Zeal item ahead right now. That is actually mind-blowing. At 18 minutes.
Yeah, and I love how it's interesting how Suning are just trying to push this gold advantage forward rather than, like I said, Drake's there. You have full map control. You could turn towards it, but instead trying to set up a pick on top side, knowing that V5, you know, we're a bit overextended in that lane, but it does look like finally SofM's going to head towards that bottom half of the map and pick that one up.
So do you think this is a mistake from Suning to not just immediately go for these Drakes and try and snowball through the Drakes, or do you think this is more of just a different style that's available? Stun comes down to Weiwei and a root as well, but he's the tankiest member of the team, certainly not the ideal target to start this fight onto. huanfeng gets the red buff.
The thing I like about what they're doing at least is they're choking out V5 from all resources, right? They took Krugs, they took the red buff, they're taking Raptors, now transitioning into a Dragon, which, had they done the reverse, then you would have given V5 the time to pick up their jungle camps.
Or the opportunity to contest Weiwei, forced to flash. Stun onto huanfeng though, the black shield a little too late, and that's gonna, oh my god, he got away with his life. I don't know how he's done it, but now a scan of the week across the whole team, and the curtain call to finish the kills. This is a picture-perfect fight for Suning, and a double kill for huanfeng.
And at the picture-perfect time, because it's 1950, Baron is coming up.
We'll see if they're going to be willing to force this one. A 20-minute Baron with a Jhin on your team is a little bit of a weird one.
Yep, this series has been quite an interesting journey, Munchables. Suning so far, bringing us on quite the ride, looking phenomenal. I can't say it enough. Again, had very little expectations for them coming into the series, and now I'm interested, even looking forward, at what they can do against top esports, assuming they close out today. You know, this isn't over, but this is as close to over as it gets.
Yeah, it ain't over just yet, but the fat lady, I can hear her. She's warming up at very least. Let's take another look at this, because I thought huanfeng was doomed.
Yeah, we see a nice arrow coming out from Y4. SwordArt either not having the black shield, just not using it in time, but really the members of V5 aren't tanky enough to walk past the likes of SofM, Angel, and SwordArt. Great flash coming out from huanfeng, and Bin's able to get on the back line and be that disruptor to pick up those kills.
And this is just a mind-blowing performance coming out from Suning here. They are now 8,000 gold ahead of V5. And what a triumphant story for the Lions here, as the Colonel is liking the looks of the way this is going. The rookies alongside the veterans that have been leveling up. And every single year they make it to playoffs in summer. And every single year they finish 7th to 8th.
And this
time around, they're looking for top 4, Lyric.
Yeah, and they have such a good way to siege these turrets. Even if the members of V5 are here, they can even just have huanfeng back up and open his ulti. The members of V5 are going to be forced back. They don't even need that.
Oh, the scan of the week is beautiful. The curtain call to follow it up. ppgod the targets. He dodges the shots. The fourth one just goes wide. Onto the inhibitor once more here for Suning. As V5 try to close on in, this could be the opportunity. Health bars are low, but Mole is eradicated. Now onto Weiwei, who cannot withstand the damage. Another double kill goes the way of Angel as Y4 tries to flash away. The chase won't come on through because they don't need to. They can go straight for the base, but in fact, they want a bonus one. Angel grabs that one. The triple on the Syndra. We said he needed to pop off, and pop off he has. And ladies and gentlemen, the Church of ppgod is in shambles right now as the Lions are roaring their way to a victory.
Yeah, and great performance from Angel and from all the members of Suning. Furthest placement in their organization's history.
Suning are going to top 4. This is a beautiful performance, and the Lions roar their way into the semifinals.
And I love how before the game you set up, hey, you know, Angel's been a bit